Hey everybody, welcome to episode 135 of the Bonehead Podcast, where we talk all things Blood Bowl. And jingle, welcome back. I'm Ben, and once again I'm joined by Blood Type Ben. BT, how you doing?
Hello, doing very well. How are you?
I am very good, and we're also joined by TO extraordinaires Ian, Triple Power, Triplo, and Miltonio Banderas. Chaps, how we doing?
Very good, very good.
Yeah, doing great. Thanks, man.
So, not a pointed question at all, but has everybody recovered from Beachhead?
Yeah, absolutely.
Oh,
Thriving.
yes.
In the background video that I'll put up when we're talking through some Beachhead stuff, that one picture where Milton is just like laughing at you at the TO desk, Ben, is there, which is exquisite.
Really hoping it wasn't, but that's okay. We can leave it.
I didn't freeze frame it though, don't worry. So it'll just be like for
Okay,
3
good, yeah.
seconds as the iMovie put together slideshow just like flicks up. That was
Nice.
absolutely quality. But no, I mean, Ben, we've already given it away. What are we talking about today?
We are going to be talking about Beachhead, doing our little after action report. You know, how it went, what teams are on, all of that jazz.
All that jazz indeed. Right, well, let's dive straight into it. Okay, so Beachhead 2024 has come and gone, and I think it continues to be one of definitely our premier tournament weekend. It is a 2-day event, but because we know people have lives and sometimes can't necessarily escape to as many tournaments as they'd like to, we have it split into 2 different days. On the Saturday, we have Beachhead 11s, which is Milton, unsurprisingly, it's an 11s tournament.
Okay. I was trying to think what you were like asking for there.
Participation.
We play
so that's
11s
fine.
on the day we play 11s. All right.
And with that in mind, Ben, what did we play on the Sunday?
We played 7s, Ben. No 11s were played on the Sunday. Yeah.
Yeah. So what we do is we have a 3-round 11s on the Saturday, 2 different tournaments for the whole weekend, and we have 4 rounds 7s on the Sunday. Because the idea is, if you can get to one, you get to one. If you can't do both, then it's fine. I love the idea of running a 2-day event. I just like, there's just so much going on in people's personal lives that I don't know. I don't think it's probably the barrier I think it is. But
there's plenty of 2-day events out there.
Yeah, exactly.
Like there's lots to go to. We like offering people that suggestion. Plus 7s is awesome, and not enough 7s tournaments to run, I think. So
yeah,
always good to
we had a chunky boy of a 7s tournament, which is very, very, very cool.
Yeah.
And it was held at the Beachhead Convention, which is it's become a massive trip, isn't it? It basically takes over all of Bournemouth.
It's the best part of all of the BIC. So for anyone who knows the Bournemouth International Centre, 2 massive halls downstairs. One is full of gamers playing tournaments all weekend. The other is full of vendors. And then outside, full of board game players. And even upstairs and around, there were tournaments and board games going on, and well into the night as well.
The thing they had this year was they had 3 floors, I think, or I don't know if 3 floors, or they just had part of the upstairs, because there was they set up a big a big card game hall as well. Yeah,
I didn't see that.
Yeah,
Wow.
They had like a Lorcana event, they had a Magic event, they had all sorts, and I was like, I need to not go anywhere near that. I was like, at all. I didn't even dare. Like, they had the big escalators that go up to the top, and I was just there like, I must not go anywhere near that.
Wow.
It was bad enough in the trader hall, and like with all the other events and stuff, it was very, very cool. 40K was there, and right next door to us. In fact, in some of the pictures, you'll see some of their terrain in the background. It was really funny because we set up on the Saturday morning, and big shout out to Drew and Ben and a few of the other guys who helped set up the pictures just right first thing. One of the guys had just set up basically his entire 40K collection on one of our tables, and when we put the mat down, he's like, "Oh, I'm really sorry. Are you using these tables?" I was like, "Dude." Like a third of the hall. Yes. He was like, "Oh no, I'll have to
There
find
it
somewhere to
is.
put it." Oh, there it is. Oh, Ben. We'll have to talk about that as well.
Yeah, we will.
So when it came to 11s, I've got to have a few massive shout outs first. First and foremost is to Milton and Trips for managing the rosters and Milton for prepping everything. Even though you couldn't be there first thing Saturday morning, your prep meant that it went and kicked off as beautifully as it ever would. And a massive shout out to Nick as well, Kaijin Chicken, for helping out on the Saturday. So Nick and Trips set up off the back of Milton's outrageous admin. Like, Milton, you would make the most unnecessary dungeon master. Like, it would be incredible. And it was just a wicked start. So a massive thank you to all of you guys for setting it up, and for Ben for sacrificing himself and being the odd man in both days. You were odd man both days, weren't you? But
Yeah, both. I played on Saturday, not Sunday.
didn't need to play on the Sunday, which was potentially very good. But no, it was massive. And it was awesome for Nick to come and help out. And Trips,
Yeah,
I've got
that
to
was
say,
hugely appreciated.
you guys absolutely crushed it. It was ridiculous because we had how many coaches did we have in the end on the Saturday with
74?
74 on Saturday.
Oh, sorry, yes, it was 74. Yeah.
That's not bad. I think we sold out 80 tickets and various dropouts happened. So that's not bad. And you and Nick were able to run that on both Score and the Google backup sheet. And it was
And that included Score backfiring as well.
Yeah,
They're even able to recover that, which is very impressive.
twice.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're done.
They somehow managed to swap the teams and the races. Sorry, I think it was the coach names and the races the wrong way around. It somehow managed to do that, which you can't even do manually. It was just when I was putting in the scores at the end, it was like all of the results were invalid, and I'm just like, what has happened here? And it's like, oh, there is no race of like, and it'll be like coach name, and it'll be like, how has it done this? Because it validates the races as you go. You can't have incorrect ones. Like, it doesn't let you. But somehow it had done it.
Because we came across that before. Milton, I think you were doing the score at one of our other events, and you were trying to put in the correct colleges or something, and it was like, no.
Oh, yeah. It doesn't like half the stuff you put into it. To be fair,
yeah, you have to manually change a text file that's also in the folder structure to allow things to be entered.
I think yes. Wasn't it that we discovered like if you minimize the window or anything and it gets like slightly out of line, it doesn't like that either. So you just have to.
Yeah, I think that ended up becoming a different reason, but there was some.
Yeah.
The reasons it doesn't work are long and unknown, but it does randomly not working. So that's the kind of behaviour that brings it out of us.
It was it was right after round 1 into round 2, a coach just went missing, right?
Yeah, it decided to delete a coach in between us putting in round 1 results and running round 2. So when we ran round 2, we had a missing coach and a half-empty table.
Yeah, but it somehow like had paired everyone up beforehand fine, and it was just awful.
Tour play.
yeah,
pretty much.
Yes, that was vote 1 for tour play, and then it got worse. Worse.
Outrageously looking forward to Dorset Dungeon Bowl being run by tour play, and also just it being Dungeon Bowl. I think is going to be a really, you guys have, it's been very cool. I kind of got to put a shout out to Hex Baron. I got a chat with him as well. He was like, and him running his last event where his wife helped, and he ran the event while playing. Using tour play, it was kind of like, okay, this is going to be fine. This is going to be fine. So that's wicked. But anyway, on to day 1. We had 74 coaches turn up on the day. We had a few dropouts. Ben was there, ready to be the odd man in. And I'm going to apologise. Normally I'd have graphs and breakdowns of things, but I'm afraid I'm not quite there yet.
I have got the number of teams per race. I've just done a quick pivot. So
give us the lowdown, Trips.
Would we like to guess how many races we had out
of 29? Out of 29. I'm going to go 22.
21 for me.
24.
Ooh, Ben's the closest because we had 26.
No way.
Yeah.
Wow, missing 3.
Okay.
I mean, I should know that. I sorted all the
I
rosters.
was going to say,
It's
Milton, you slavishly put them in, including the people that wanted 1, 2, 3, or 17 different rosters.
Yeah.
Right, I'm assuming there's no slan.
We had one slan.
There was a slan, yeah.
There was a slan. I feel like what didn't we see? We didn't see Bretonians.
No, definitely. Did we have any? I don't think we had any nobility at all. In fact,
No, I don't remember seeing a nobility roster.
No, we had nobility models in day 2, but he was running OWA. No nobility. Was there Black Orcs?
Yeah.
There was Black Orcs. Ashley was running Black
there was
Orcs.
one Black Orc. Yeah,
Did we have Chaos Dwarf?
we had 2 Chaos Dwarfs.
Okay.
Yeah.
I don't know. You have to put us out of our misery.
I'd have to work it out now because it's it's easy to know how many there are.
Wood
So
elves.
it
Was there any wood elf teams?
Oh, yes.
Who would else?
Yeah, they were
Oh,
definitely
there
wood
was
elves.
wood
Because
elves.
I made comment about that because I think last year we had no wood elves at any of our tournaments.
There was a no halflings for 11s.
No halflings.
No,
No.
halflings.
No halflings. Surely there was Tomb Kings. Yeah, there was
Ogres?
Tomb Kings. No, there was ogres.
Oh, 2 things. Okay. Yeah.
Someone always runs Nurgle because they're just like.
We had 2 Nurgles.
There were 2 Nurgles, yeah. I remember that.
Yeah.
Oh,
'Cause I always just feel like that
definitely.
stands out, doesn't it?
I feel really bad now because like there must be a team that we're just like completely ignoring.
High elves?
No, there was a high elf.
We had 1 high elf.
Jack was running high elves.
I really can't. So
Oh well.
Yeah,
Anyway,
well,
this is,
human.
Quality content.
yeah, I was going to
Yeah.
say this is probably not the best.
just sit here and guess for the next 30 minutes.
Name 29 teams.
There's only 29 exactly. All right. Let's put it this way: the important teams were clearly in it. So
Yeah.
all of the ones we've talked, we should probably bust out our NAF draft list and check and see
True.
which one of us.
Yeah.
Did
Well,
not- did
do
not
we
run.
remember what was the most selected roster? And we had double of this roster compared to anything else.
Snotlings?
No, we did have 5 Snotlings. They were the 2nd highest race. We had 3 races with 5 Norse, Snotling, and vampires.
The
Any-
vampires were cool. It was cool to see all the different rosters. We'll have to pick up. I think we'll have to do a little follow-up episode on vampires.
Wait,
Speaking
still
orcs trips.
It was orcs. We had
Yeah.
10 orc rosters.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
It's good.
that's what happens when
That's who I picked.
They're the new. they're the series 2 villain. Yeah, like Underworld is the big bad, but there's a sneaky
Yeah,
little sidekick.
You did say this, didn't you, when we were draft picking, that you think that orcs are the new. Was it you, BT?
Yeah. Orcs, they're just really ubiquitous at the moment. They do really well in certain sort of packages. And I think where ours is kind of like quite a lower threat skill package, orcs really dominate.
Little less
So,
skills,
Yeah,
little
I
less
had,
money.
I had quite a few people come up to me and go, "Oh, I'm running orcs." It's gone. Orcs are great, but they do. It's really easy to like.
You've changed the tune.
No, orcs are really good. They are by far the best team, but like it's really easy in a tournament environment for that to tumble quickly. So like if you lose a key positional really early on, and I feel like that mental state just knocks you for the rest of your games because they're just slow in their momentum. But yeah, still a great pick.
Mm.
Cool. We because of the rules packet, we had 1100 TV. We had quite a limited skills package, and we had a megastar tax on skills. So nothing was verboten, nothing was removed. It was just like Ben said, kind of a close to the ground thing, which I think for bigger one-day events where you get a lot of people who are not necessarily new to the game, but we want our tournaments to be quite accessible. So having that kind of lower to the ground, it's closer to what you're likely to play for the first half dozen league games. I think it helps keep the rounds a little faster and help keeps the round 3 headache a little less horrifically brutal, which is always worth like picking up on like the last round, because I remember last year it was kind of like, right, who's gonna go out for drinks? And they're like, yeah, and they get to the hotel room and they're like, no, I have to lie down, and now I'm staying lying down because my head hurts because of maths, which is a legitimate thing, but it was very cool. Ben, do you want to talk through your round 1 matchup, if you remember?
Sure. So so one thing I will add is we did have the Fen Beast, our
God,
custom
yeah.
star player.
Yeah.
So while it is a little bit grounded, we did have that. Was he 140, 150k star player?
Yeah,
Strength
had
control,
Beasts.
basically. Yeah. Strength 6 control with foul appearance.
Beautiful.
Yeah, really nice. So I did run that in my Khorne roster, which left me on 1 reroll, and then I took leader as a double. It was a lot of fun actually. And my first game was against Hex Baron, which was an awesome game. He was running Amazons and just played them very well. Moved them away, struggled to hit them, and it ended up being a 2-0 loss. But he's a phenomenal coach, and I had a good game regardless.
I think it's the first time I've properly had a chat with Chris, and he is awesome. He's
a legend of a guy.
He's becoming a proper little name on the Blood Bowl tournament circuit down south, which was very, very, very cool. So first round kicked off. Everyone was really excited. You guys did the pairings really beautifully. The tables were all set up. I need to reorder some of these, but we can talk about putting a crib sheet or something on the back of them, because I didn't realise, Milton, until we set up, I think we lost about 20 in the reign of Aegeus.
Oh, really?
Yeah, but the guys did a great job setting everything up anyway. And Drew, bless him, Drew and Ben Davey with a pen were just going around and like filling in. It was tables like 30 onwards. So
yeah, if you ended up on the back row, you ended up with a slightly less than professional table number.
Yeah, and they were fine about it. There were some big games in the first round. We had a couple of like 4 touchdown games, which I thought was quite exciting. But I mean, I don't want to go into too much detail now because I want to kind of get to the winners so we can have a look at a couple of rosters. It's really difficult to review a tournament that is this big in like an hour and a bit, because I mean, Milt, how many rosters did you have to check over the weekend?
I
mean,
what on the day or like beforehand?
we must be talking like 140, 150?
It's 120 something, or almost 130, I think. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
It's
Plus,
a lot.
it was a lot. It was a lot of prep, and it is like a lot. It was a lot of fun, and like no doubt, like worthwhile doing. But yeah, there was a lot of data to process, a lot of things to go through. And I really appreciate everyone that got their rosters in on time. You know who you are.
So we went into round 2, BT. This was interesting.
Yes. So I played against Michael, and he was running Skaven, and this game was wild. I will remember this game forever. So he was a very, very confident Skaven player, as in doing the sort of moves that I do on like a stream that we do of the sort of the nonsense. Yeah. Like he would making just ridiculous passes, ridiculous cage dives that worked. Just with the sheer confidence, he was able to get 2-0 up on me at half time. Even like throwing gutter runners away just for the sake of like distracting me and getting the ball down the end of the field. And it worked. It worked, as Skaven does. But what also is the trouble with Skaven is sometimes that attrition hits a bit early. And towards the end of that half, I was removing some players. And then I'm just like, okay, I said to him, I can still win this. I'm 2-0 down. I've got 8 turns left of the game, but we can do this. And received the ball and scored a 2-turn touchdown with that. And then he then received the ball. I started removing some players as well. He then kicking to him, got a blitz, ran under, caught the ball, and caged up on his turn, and was able to get the ball in another 2 turns. And then it gave me no, it's 3, then 2, then 3 for a 3rd touchdown at the end as well. So
amazing.
Yeah.
I had to go home halfway through the day because If's mum was going to come and hang out with her and help her, but couldn't make it. So auntie came for the morning, so I had to bail halfway through. And when I left, I swang bang, and you were on bottom table 2-0 down, and I was like, oh, the podcast cannot come quick enough. and then I was sat at home. This is the one really good thing about the way we do our Google Sheet, and Tour Play will carry this over, is even if you're not at an event, you kind of keep an eye on the scores and everything as it's coming in. So I was sitting there with Libby and Tiff. I was like looking at the standings, and I was like, hang about. I don't remember this being the case. Bounce into your round 3, Ben, because I don't want to give it away, but.
Yeah, so round 3, I played. Oh God.
Oh, it's Jandir Coldheart.
Of course it was. And it was an England-Wales rugby game at the same time. So we're just like, okay, we're prerequisiting that.
Yes.
One of the Welsh coaches, he was playing. It was some Tomb Kings. It was Tomb Kings.
Yeah.
He was playing Tomb Kings, and that was a really tough game. That one was, I think, it was a 1-0 win in the end.
It was.
Yeah, and it was just really, really bashy. Like, both of us were just like punching each other down, not removing players, just always prone everywhere, and it was really tough. I ended up taking out his Tomb Guardian, and that changed. That then swung it in my favor, because once that huge key strength piece was removed, it became a little bit easier to break through. So
Fembeast versus Fembeast. He had Ivan as well, which is
he did.
Strength 4 is never bad, but against Khorne, it's not.
He's not. No, he wasn't.
Enough.
No, it was the Tomb Guardians and especially the guard ones that were the real problem. Ivan was sort of just a blitzer, really. That
So
I didn't have to worry about.
Did you have the Spawn and the Fembeast?
Yeah.
Oh, dude, there it is.
That's both in. Yeah.
We'll pick up on that too. In the background there. Ooh, Titans. No, wicked. So when it comes to the standings, we had a few players went 3-0, and Trips, you are the ultimate person at score tracking going into round 3, like into the last bit. I mean, did you get a chance to go around and hype up the top tables like you normally do?
We did, yes, and we had I think the top 3 tables that was all very tight. And as is always the way with our tournaments, not only are the top tables tight, but we also have it very tight for fouls, casualties, and touchdowns. And I think everything other than best team, which had been voted for, was very much up for grabs. And also the bottom tables, by the time you get to the bottom table 3 games in, there's quite a bit of competition there about who's going for participation and where they are with that.
I think I'd be scrambling just to get off. I mean, the thing is, one win can actually is quite a big swing in the way of points. So that's the difference between a 30-something on the day and a 60-something pointer, which can be quite different. So I won't do all of the teams, but we had Liam take first place with 3-0 with Dark Elves. Then we had Sam Like Scar with Humans. We had Norse next with Captain Oates, who is doing very well in the series as well with points. Very well indeed. We had Elf Union by Tom Foolery at 3-0, and we also had Humans with Griff, DT running that. Humans with Griff. Trips, you got that. That must have been like your pet roster for that day.
That was like a proper pet roster, and really interesting to see the Megastar tax worked. The roster had flaws, but Griff is still Griff, and Griff played very well for 2.5 games, and then got obliterated, I think.
That's really interesting, because obviously last year the Metastar tax wasn't part of it, and Drew won with his Blackhawks and Bomber. And I think we saw Bomber and Hackfem spread across like the top 5 tables in pretty much every roster. But having that change this year, I think this is also possibly why we're seeing like more Orc teams and a bit of a shift in things, is just because of that change. So yeah, really interesting to hear that a Griff roster got that high still. That there's still that possibility, but
I think that's right. I think that's about right. I really do. Like Tripp said, like you can still take Griff. Can you guys hear the plane? Or have I soundproofed it or not?
No,
okay, that's good. You can still take Griff or something, but you have to give up so much that it keeps it from being an auto win. That's all we need, right? So you're saying there's a chance. And yeah, I mean, I have no issues with the rise of Orcs, because quite frankly, playing against Orcs is never egregious. it might be egregious on turn 11, turn 12, turn 13 once your team has been mullered, if it gets to that point. But you're always in it with orcs because they're not that fast. So, yeah, if orcs are the baddie, the baddon, the big bad boss for this season, for this year, wicked. Sign me up. I couldn't think of a better team to be the villain.
No, they're pretty grounded, aren't they, in terms of like the game? So
yeah, exactly. They're classic. We had Whiskey Mancer with Dwarf Fenbeast at 6th spot. Ogre, Deeproot, Puggy, Nixon 2-1-0 as well with that one. And Shambling Undead, and this is from Dan, and he looks like he was running a star player. Oh no, Fenbeast. Snotling Morg and Skitter, Greenskin Phil. Ben's starting to be nemesis.
Well, we're more teammates at this point, but we are. Yeah, I was chatting to him recently. He didn't feel good about running that one. He was just like,
it was proper dirty roster, that one.
Really dirty roster, and he was explaining where it's just like it felt even worse on the day because it's a filthy roster, and he wasn't even winning. So you're just like, you're bringing this filth that's miserable to play against, and he wasn't even getting wins, so he felt bad as well. And so he was just I'm retiring that kind of play.
He ended 9th with a 2-1-0, like, and 113 points. It's not.
Yeah.
That's not bad. Like
it's good.
2-1 record. It's so funny. We talk about this, and it's like, I got a draw. Like going 3-0. It's not a given in anything, let alone Blood Bowl. Like,
no,
it's just. I mean, a 2-1-0 is what's the? If we're using draw as half a win, you know, that's a 2+. That's your it's like a 2+ win.
It's pretty good. Pretty good going. Yeah, I think he was the only one to bring Skitter as well, wasn't he?
Yeah.
No.
Was there another one?
We had a Renegade with Skitter.
There were two at the end, wasn't there?
I was interested to see how Skitter put up. Drew, Blood, and Dalio, 112 points, 110 points. Drew was running Vampires, and Dalio and Norse and Borak. Dalio continues his streak of not losing a game with Norse. At this point, it's very exciting. Getting some draws in there, but no loss so far.
Yeah.
I want to talk about Vampires in a minute. It's great to see Drew running them. He went no Varg. A lot of people went no Varg, and I think it is the more consistent, conservative way of doing it.
Do you reckon?
Yeah, I mean, we were talking about it a lot on the day, and it was kind of like the Varg has a lower floor but a higher ceiling.
Yeah.
Okay.
It depends on what you want to do. The Blitz is always going to do what you want it to do, basically, but the Varg sometimes won't, but sometimes will just decimate, and it's kind of like it's that variability. And I'm a big fan of the Varg because it creates more drama and it's more swingy. But if you are at an event and you want to play tight, then Blitzer and a Thrall is probably better than the Varg, and that's kind of what we saw here with Drew. We had Humans 2-0-1 with Quackers. That's fantastic. That's Orkster Junior. That's wicked. Nicely done. Skaven and Acorn at 2-0-1 with Daz 9000, Chaos Renegade and Skitter. That is just a juicy roster. That's Jez. I need to check that roster out because that sounds very good. We had Dazamak Orc at 15, 2-0-1 Skaven and Glart, Greasy Cleats. Another Orc. This was Ben Davey with a beautiful yellow Orc team. I went and bought some paints after that because of how he painted it. I was like, that's very cool. And I printed myself a Torchlight Orc team off because I'm like, right, I want to play some paint some cartoony yellow Orcs. And they are still sitting uncleaned. Amazon Fenbeast, your buddy Hex Baron at 18. Corn Fenbeast, player 888. Blood Tithe. 19th spot, Ben. And Goblin and Fungus underneath you from Lachlan. So top 20 finish in the end, Ben, out of an 80-man event.
Not bad.
That's not bad at all.
I'll take it. Yeah, it was good fun. It was really good fun, and it was they're really tough games. So it was good that it was like all three games are like really memorable and really just fun, and that's what you want.
That's
considering the look on your face at the half time in that second game when it's like you've lost 2-0, you're 2-0 down. It's like, oh, Ben's going to have a really long day. And it really literally switched at half time to a bit of a change.
There's a proper moment of just like, right, I'm just going to switch gears completely. Punch, 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 punch. Run, sprint, rush. Do everything. Just roll the dice. Just
did have some great comments about your game face, Ben, because you were on the bottom table. People could like your visibility was really, really, really high, and people would be like, "Looks like Ben's having a terrible time." And even Nick was like, "I don't know if this Ben is having just the worst game of his life, or if he's just concentrating. I think you just have like in tournaments you have proper game face. It was wicked." And then of course I moved
You
over.
could have
and
1,000 yards there or something.
Yeah, basically, you're like dice have made him see some things. But that wrapped up for the day, and we had Trips. Do you want to talk us through the winners as you did the announcements on the day?
Yeah, so we had we had top 3 tournament prizes for the tournament, which works really well with a big tournament and numbers like this. And there were only 3 points, as you said, between the top 3, so it was very tight between the top 3. And I think it came down to the combination of touchdown and casualties this time. It wasn't perfect defense that scored the points, but we'd upped touchdowns and casualties to 5 each, so that gave a bit more flexibility. So really good. And then we had our Stunty Cup was there were only 5 points in the Stunty Cup as well between Nick and
Greenskin
Chris.
Phil, right?
Greenskin Phil was second with that one.
Ugh, you guys are going to start telling us we need to do second and third Stunty soon. If we get to 100 next year, that's what we'll do.
Consider that, yeah.
We'll have an 80-man Stunty tournament. We can have first, second, third. And then best team on the day was Adam Leaf with his, I can't remember.
Wrestling Orcs, wasn't it?
Wrestling Orcs. Yeah.
Yes.
The monstrous guys.
If you're watching on YouTube, you've probably seen it flick up on the screen behind us a couple of times. All of the team, it just looked like a team of Hulks. It wasn't, but it was just an awesome team. Yeah, they were wicked. Everybody was kind of commenting on them as they went through the day. So I'm not surprised to see that one take the gold for that. There were some beautiful teams both days, but that was something very cool, very unique, and very special, and that really got everybody's eye.
And we've got to say, a really good effort by the players. We had I think we had 4 or 5 tables of best teams lined up at lunch, and we had a lot of votes for a lot of different teams. It was really well contested, and it was there were a lot of people struggling to work out who to pick, which is great because there were just some really, really high qualities. Participation trophy, which is the winner of the last place battle at the day, went to Chipinda, who managed to get 32 points for the day. And then
we phlegm for that. Golly.
Significantly didn't enjoy his dice, I think was the phrase, and I had nothing to do with it, I promise. And most touchdowns, we had 2 on 8, so Darag and Liam who won. And then most casualties was quite impressive. Julian Whiskey Manser won most casualties. He had 20 casualties over the course of 3 games, which is pretty impressively violent.
He was playing dwarves, wasn't he?
Yeah. Dwarves and Fenbeast, I think. For Max.
Yeah, I remember looking at his roster and thinking, yeah, this is going to be bashy.
Yeah, he had 9 casualties in round 1. Which is if you're going to go for a casualties or foul award, definitely you want to have a good start to the game. And then the last but not least was most fouls. Now, most fouls, it was unusual to not see Adam going for this one. In fact, we had to check his score sheet several times and clean. But Luke Dan won most fouls with a mere 46 fouls in 3 games.
Looking for the black gobbo here on the front page to try and snotling black gobbo. There you go, that'll do it.
Yeah.
I love that. I think it's horrific that people come with a plan so succinct as that. I think it's absolutely brilliant. But we got a couple of 11s rosters to pick out, haven't we, guys? So I will just minimize the video here. Go. Power of graphics and bring up the beautiful Google sheet here. So this was the winning roster, which was Dark Elves, 4 Blitzers, a Witch Elf, another Witch Elf, a Runner, and 4 Linemen. So 11 players, a Blodge, blitzer, a tackle blitzer, a 2 block witch elves, and a leader dark elf runner with a reroll, assistant coach, and a cheerleader. That's a really, really straight up roster, Trips. You're the dark elf guy. What do you think to that pick?
Yeah, I mean, that's a solid 1100 Dark Elf roster. Dark Elves at 1100 are difficult to bring a well-positioned squad to because they are so flipping expensive. So the leader caddy is an absolute must with Dark Elves if you want to have the rerolls. But even then, that's only an 11-man roster, so you are working on the basis. You don't run into a snarly fen beast and have a bad day.
11 players, but 6 of them with block, 3 of them with dodge, and all of them with edge 2+. Yeah, 3 rerolls across the roster. That's brilliant. That just means, Ben, I mean, you're up at events very regularly. That roster, nothing in that roster pops. So that is clearly won through skill on the ground.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is not like,
for sure. This is like, it's not like pushing the boat out, trying a really niche strategy. This is like, I want to play Dark Elves, I want to play Dark Elves well and solidly. And
this is why I like our tournament packages, because actually that's just a Dark Elf team doing Dark Elf things. And I think that's wicked. But Milt, I think you flagged up another roster. Is it the Norse one that you thought was worth talking through?
This is for 7s though, so
my bad.
we can come back to this one.
We will come back.
We'll come back to that one.
All right.
Because I definitely want to talk about that.
We will be moving on to 7s now, so we'll take a very quick break and be right back. And then there was day 2. So day 2, 4 games of 7s. Day 2 trips is so much more chilled, isn't it? It's got such a different vibe.
Absolutely. You've got mostly day 1 players playing again in day 2. So everyone's got over the excitement of day 1 and detail, and also is slightly tired or ranging of tiredness, depending on how much fun they had Saturday night. And then there's also some new players who are coming along who definitely are there for the 7s. But yeah, 7s feels a lot more casual, although the look of panic on people's faces during round 1 is one of my highlights of the weekend every time, because it's an hour for the round, and you can see after half an hour everyone's like, I'm on turn 4 of the first half. It's like, it's 7s. The second half will last like 10 minutes.
Contrary to popular belief, there's only 6 turns in a half for 7s as well.
Yes,
there we go.
We did have a couple of teams that attempted to play 8-turn 7s matches.
So I think the most fortunate thing about the day was that there were 52 players. Ben didn't have to play as odd man in.
So I guess we kind of glossed over this. Like, one of the most amazing things about tournaments is seeing everybody. And I had an awesome time on the Saturday catching up with as many people as I could. And it was just, I couldn't have been happier to talk, to see everybody, to see the teams, to listen to the stuff, to talk about Blood Bowl and what's going on in the world and stuff like that. I didn't get a chance to go out drinking in the evening, so Ben drank for both of us.
Everyone.
Yeah. How was your evening?
I ban him for that as well, I guess. No, it was good. We basically booked out 2 big tables in the local Brewdog and just went for drinks. It was awesome. I was chatting to lots of people. Thank you everyone who bought me drinks. That was probably a few too many. And yeah, we ended up leaving at closing, and it was I don't really remember much of the rest. But it was awesome. It was awesome to do that. Like, it's obviously not the most responsible thing, but it's very fun to do once in a while. And it's what I love about like 2-dayers, where you can just hang out, and like, I think I really appreciated it, especially with now like the new job situation. I don't talk to a lot of people much anymore. And so, like, to be able to go out and socialize is really like meaningful. So I really, really enjoyed it. Yeah, it was good. It was worth this mess on Sunday. But rocking up there like 10 minutes till the game started with the score laptop, being like, guys,
we had a coffee waiting for you. We were like, oh, I think Trips was gonna like jump in and play if you were out of order. I mean, it's not like Trips is not a dab hand at 7s for Corn, so it would have been fine. It would have been fine, and you could have done the even worse thing, which is try and use score while incredibly
Yeah,
hungover.
true.
But like you guys said, 52 players for the Sevens event is fabulous. We have 55 rostered in.
Incredible. I think we had 40 last year, so it's quite a big jump for sevens. And like, yeah, I was so happy to see so many more people coming to the sevens. And as you say, the sevens has a completely different atmosphere. Like some of the games were really intense, particularly the final match on the top table. That was really intense, but we'll come back to that one. But yeah, everyone who comes to our tournaments is always such a good sport. And like, I just have to say a massive thank you to all the coaches for just being generally really chill and just enjoying themselves and enjoying the event. And one of the nicest feedbacks I think I heard from people was just that they just enjoyed the atmosphere, which is what we've tried to cultivate more than anything else. So that's really good to hear. And certainly, yes, for the sevens, I think you've had a full day of like 11. Like the people that play both days, like if you've had a full day of 11s, you've been in that environment, you kind of got your head into it, you kind of got your gear, and then you dial it back. But I do think by the third or fourth game, people are flagging because it's a lot, isn't it? And it really depended where you were sat as to like gauging like the level of that. But people kept going, and the games were fantastic. I was so impressed with how everyone got on.
We had 90 coaches rostered over the 2 days, and I think 88 of them played, which is awesome across the 2 days. So that's absolutely wicked. But no, I mean, I love sevens. The only thing I will say is that as we move forward, the desperate measures will probably be gone the way of the mega stars. Either they'll be limited or abolished.
Should we talk about this roster then?
Yeah,
I think it's a good segue.
Yeah.
This was really interesting. So Adam came up to us at the start and he was like, "Have you seen my roster?" It's like, well, like I've looked over it, but I haven't like given it any great like, you know, it's just a legality thing. I was like, I haven't given it any great thought because like, Trips looks over and does a great job of checking those. He was like, it's all Norse linemen with 5 desperate measures. And I was trying to wrap my head around like why you'd want to do that. He was like, well, he was so convinced. He was like, well, it's just unstoppable. It's like you just can't defend against it. And I was like, has he just broken sevens? And he's just come here with the absolute filth roster. I was like, you're going to be a lot of fun to play today, aren't you? And to be fair, he did well. I think he lost one of his games, and I think I can't remember what he said about it. I think he may have just got a bit diced, basically. Like, you know, there's going to be some circumstances or like a certain matchup that's just always going to be able to get around you. You know, if you lose a couple of those players and there's a couple of quick players on the opposition's team, then you know you're not going to be able to prevent those touchdowns.
I think his strategy was if you don't roll dice, you can't get diced.
Yeah, but I was looking through the desperate measures and I was like, yeah, I see where he's coming from because some of them, like, I mean, there's only 8, and if you're rolling,
they're amazing.
Yeah, and there's only all of them have some like reasonably decent effect.
Yeah, but Banana Skin is just auto turnover. Wizard's always great. Razzle Dazzle is basically double activation without movement. Like there's a lot of fun. I'm just so proud because someone genuinely broke a format, and we don't get to see that very often. And it was really fun to see that be like the talk of the tournament. Like, because it was so funny. Because I spoke to him, and then I carried on doing the rounds in the morning. And someone came up to me and was like, "Yeah, you heard about this Norse roster?" I was like, "Oh, really?" He's like, "All linemen and five desperate measures." I was like, "Yeah, no." I just spoke to him. He came up. He was just like grinning from ear to ear, like, "Hey, all right, lads, I've ruined the event today, so that's cool." But I thought it was awesome, absolutely awesome. And no, it's not going to happen again.
No,
but like. I get as a gamer, as an ex-Magic player, like I just love people who can be like, cool. Here's the filthiest thing I can conjure up. Suck it, TOs. Try and build around that. It makes me so proud. At least it's
definitely.
only sevens, so it's only like a 40-minute game. So
I was kind of I was kind of in disbelief when he told us at the beginning, because I was just like, maybe he's onto something. And then after like a win, I was like, yeah, maybe he really is onto something.
Drip, so I suppose you got a team count for the sevens, do you?
I do have team count for the sevens.
Give us some
So
highlights.
We had 20 races for sevens, so there are definitely some races that, unless you
I don't think we
have
guess
chosen pain, you won't pick. But our most rostered race for sevens was Corn. We had 6 Corn teams.
I love that. I really do love that, because everyone thinks Corn is a bash team, but in 7.
Oh, sevens, those frenzy blocks are really quite handy, as long as you roll well. And then we had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We had 6 different races, all with 4 rosters. So we had 4 rosters from Amazon, Norse, Skaven, Snotlings, and Vampires and Wood Elves.
Oh, I love that mix.
Yeah. Remembering as well that the only star that was available was the Fen Beast on Sunday as well. So I think we had 5 Fen Beasts rosters.
Yeah, 5 Fen Beasts for that day. I mean, I love that. It was great to see such a cool mix of teams. I love seeing Snotlings in sevens, because they get a bit of a leg up. I mean, I love 7. Just the best way to play. It's perfect. 11s is full on, and it's immersive to an extent of that. I don't think there are many other games that do it that way, with such a simple on the board status, but you can lose yourself for 2 hours and be deep in a world that doesn't exist except inside your and your opponent's heads. I've never experienced that in any other game system. 7s, it's just fluid. It is absolutely. I think 11s is a Guinness, and 7s is a nice cool cause light, and I'm here for it. I'm here for it. Good enough for Jean-Claude Van Damme. Good enough for me. So I love that, and I love seeing the clever rosters from that as well. Anything to pick out about the rounds, or should we hit up the standings for 7s?
No, but the one thing that really was really strange. So Trips and Ben had like popped out for lunch, and then there was this flurry of like rules queries. But one of the rules queries that completely threw me, I'm sorry, I can't remember who it was that came up to me. I apologize for forgetting, because there was just so much going on at the time. Came up with 2 copies of the Death Zone rulebook with different prints for the rules in them. And I was like, I didn't think Games Workshop reprinted the books with different rules. I thought they FAQ'd everything. So that's a thing to watch out for. Because apparently that's a thing they do now.
Do you remember what rule it was?
Yeah, so it was about the so in sevens, obviously you don't have the line of scrimmage, you've got the mid zone, and it was about the ball landing into the mid zone on the kickoff.
Yeah.
And there's a whole extra paragraph printed in the newer version of the rulebook, in line with that ruling, to explain it further, because it's not actually detailed or explained at all in the original print.
Oh, there must have been
There you go.
They must have done a second.
A second print.
Yeah, but like you said,
Sounds like they've put the huge FAQ that they had to put out. They've actually put it in the rulebook.
But I don't think I've ever in
that makes me so
recollected
nervous.
memory, it makes me nervous, right? Because I don't think in recollected memory they've ever reprinted a book, because then people have different versions of the same rules.
Oh,
How weird! I know.
Yeah, imagine having different versions of the same rules.
And that then threw
crazy.
me. That then threw me. Then... Guys, come on. What did I say before we started? That then threw me when Top Table was asking for a rules question, and that game was heated, because obviously they were playing for the top there. I think that was an amazing game.
Amazons
but we'll go into standings.
Vampire, Dazzlemac, and Orkster.
We'll go into standings and then talk about that.
And Orkster took it 400 for the day, 400, 132 points in sevens, which is quite an achievement. Running Vampires. That was Orkster's goal this weekend, was to run Vampires and get them to do stuff. And absolutely crushed it. So we'll go through the top 10, top 20, we'll see, and then we'll look at a couple of rosters there. So Orkster with Vampires, then we had Snotlings with a Fen Beast, Toby B, 310, Orc, Fen Beast, Kaijin Chicken, our lad, 310, Norse, 310 from Lachlan, Orc, Deathwish, nice, 301, Dalio, 220 with Norse, still not lost a game with Norse. Dazamak from top table, finished with 7th spot, 3-0 and 114 points for Amazons. Drew Blood, 8th place with Necromantic, another vampire team in at 9 for Scarfang, 220. Captain Oates with the aforementioned Dirty Norse roster. Desperate Norse, there we go, that's what we'll call that one. 3-0 and 1, 1-3, lost 1. 109 points as well. Master Wiggins, oh yeah, the Priest Pack were out in proper form. It's so good to see those guys. With Skaven, that made me extra happy. We had Humans at 12, DT. James was running Dwarves, GJ703. Dark Elves at 14. Buster got one of the rosters I want to talk at. Wood Elves 15, Commander Spragg. Luke down with Snotlings. We had Wood Elves, Oliver Baldry. Oh, the Baldry pack again. Ooh. So good to see those guys. Just came for the 7s, but came and was so excited. And top 20 finish for Ollie is just, that's wicked. A nice cheeky 100-pointer for the day. Skaven, Inevitable Pest. We had Korn, Primac, 99 points from our lad there. And Lizards, Benny, Biddy, Vinci. Matt with the Lizards there, 1, 2, and 1 for 93 points. It's just so cool. Like, it's just so cool. Good spread of teams, and I love seeing these names because I'm like, yep, know them, yep, know them. Not surprised to see them there, not surprised to see them there. One thing I was surprised by, one of the days I went down and I think maybe it was round 2. Yeah, round 2, I did the rounds, and bottom tables were like, we had like Baron and Drew and Quackers and Gary and Deathwish all down on the bottom tables. And I was like, I know you. I'm surprised to see you all down here. And then they're going to have like top 20 finishes, which is just very cool. And that's the extra game in 7s, and that's the scoring system. I really like that. That you can lose your first game and still finish top 20 with a nice 301 finish is absolutely exquisite. I tell you what, we got the prizes and the finishes for 7s, their trips at all.
Yeah, so again, top 3 on the day. Got a prize, bit more spread after 4 games. With Orkster, with the only 4-0 record, he had a whole 7-point clear lead on second place. And then it was quite tight after that. Stunty was Toby, who finished second on the day. So excellent job there. Matt Vinivici had the best team. I think that was a Skaven team on Sunday, if I remember correctly. Was it a Skaven team?
Yeah. No, he ran Lizards because
he ran Lizards. Yes,
best painted.
Yes, that was it.
Spoilers. Yeah.
We then had participation. Was Gary on Sunday, who shall be forever remembered for his excellent seating placement. And then he touched on the Baldry can coming down on Sunday. Most touchdowns went to Ollie, who was as happy as you could ever see someone being happy, taking away his most touchdown prize. On Sunday, he had 8 touchdowns, and Mark Deathwish had 8 casualties over the 4 games, and he won most casualties. And then we've got to touch on most fouls. So most fouls after 3 rounds was close between Ben Davey and James Priest, who were really within about 4 fouls of each other after 3 rounds. And Score then did, for its last thing it will ever do with us, something spectacular. It paired them up and put them on the same table to play this last game, which turned into, without a doubt, a foul-off, as everyone went, sod the ball, let's just go for fouls.
Oh, that's so good.
And I think Ben won the most fouls overall. He finished with 30 fouls over 4 games, which in 7s is pretty impressive because you can't get the easy fouls to start off with.
Yeah.
Well, no, you don't. Yeah, you got no line of slaughter. That is so good. That is so good. We've got a couple of rosters to look at. The first one is the winning roster, Orkster's roster here. So Vamps, we had a thrower, a blitzer, a runner, and 7 thralls. So what's that? 10 players all in all, with a leader thrower, a strip ball blitzer, and a pro runner. I mean, does that skill set surprise anybody?
Yeah, vampires and 7s sounds so frightening. Yeah, this seems really good.
I love this. Plus, Orkster. Orkster tends to come with it goes to a ton of events, but like, it always comes to ours with an edge case team. Like, never, I've not seen him play like mainstream, like, oh, we're gonna play Dark Elves, we're gonna play Underworld. He ran Slan for some of our events, and now to run Vampires, which I consider new. They're not mainstream yet. They're not OP. They're just, if you know how to use them, if you can wield them, then they're wicked. And I love this. I love the skill set, and I love that. A combo's skills there are perfect. That is very, very, very cool. That's very, very, very cool, actually. Ooh, oh, I love 7s. But there's one more roster I did want to pick out, which was Buster Guts. So one of the great things about tournaments, again, I only got to do half day on 7s, but over lunch and in the beginning of the day, got to catch up with people and see what their rosters are all doing. It's a simple thing, but I thought the thought behind it was brilliant from a 7s point of view. So Buster Gut was running Dark Elves, Blitzer, Lineman, Assassin, a Dodge Blitzer, and a Sidestep Blitzer. Dodge Blitzer, fine. Sidestep in 7s gives you that extra movement, which I thought was quite good, keeps him safe on the edge. But it was just the thought of using the Assassin, I thought was brilliant, because he sort of said, well, I'm not going to run Tackle, because Tackle doesn't always work. But having the option with a movement 7 edge 2+ piece, that's the whole pitch covered. If I want to roll armor against somebody, and in 7s you get a lot of high speed, low armor threats. He's like, the people I'm worried about are the gutter runners, are the wood elf war dancers. And he's like, I don't care what skills they've got. Doesn't matter. Like, I can just get one strike in at them almost all the time, and it's just a straight up, can I roll 8+ on 2d6? And it's like, it's just 100% worth it. And I was just like, you know what? The Assassin doesn't get enough love. And I thought that was a very, very, very clever read of the format, a clever read of 7s. And he said, even against the Norse teams, it's like there's a ton of Norse teams, even against Norse, like, they're all great targets because they're all armor 8+. He's like, there is this real target-rich environment. And I just was like, I like that. Someone has looked at the meta and gone, okay, well, actually, you know what? I can use an extra player with an extra bit of movement in this edition to just get that thing. I mean, arguably, is it better than a blitzer, as you know, with the extra movement and the extra block? But you can only blitz once per turn, and that's straight up stab. I just think, that one stuck with me. I'm not sure. Ended up 14th overall with that roster as well, out of a field of 52, which I think is a 100-point day. I think that's
not bad.
I think that's really solid. Definitely not OP. But just a clever thing to do, and I'd like to see some more stab players in the game, just because actually it's quite a different take on it, which I think is really cool. But I mean, I'm just going to echo what you guys said. The event was fantastic. I wish I could have been there longer, and I wish I could have come out with you guys as well. But it was fantastic to see, nearly 100 Blood Bowl fans over the weekend. And all the rosters, all the teams, all the games and the stories. I came back on that Saturday, and I have never had such a Blood Bowl high. All the events we've run, I just was like, right, this is just the best thing ever. And it didn't rain on us, which is exquisite as well. And we've got a few things we can take away from the event to do better with desperate measures, using tool play. But I mean, I thought overall it was a brilliant event, and you guys all did such a good job running it that I mean, trips of 2 people running an 80-man event in a foreign environment, in a very loud environment like that, exquisite, absolutely exquisite. I think back 2-3 years, we'd be sweating.
Two with help from others, because Ben nicely wasn't the last player to finish every time, so came back and helped out, and Milton had done all the prep work beforehand, so everything was ready and organised. So he you get everything lined up and sorted, it does make it a lot easier to TO. And as I think Milton said about the Sunday, our players are just so good that there's not a lot of issues. There's the odd funny rules interaction that usually people know it's a no, but are just, could I possibly, maybe, can I?
That's the true desperate measure. Like,
the rules don't say I can't not do this. But no, I think that's the best thing to come away with is just everybody who came to the event was fantastic. And if you're listening to this, if you've not been to a Blood Bowl tournament, don't be afraid. Like, it is, without a shadow of a doubt, a really fun environment because the dice are going to hurt you, and the dice do not care where you're from, who you are. They just don't care. Like, and that is the ultimate thing: is you're playing against your opponent, but really, it's just rock climbing in space. Like, you're racing against somebody, but the environment is trying to kill you more than they are. And that's just fun. You're having a cooperative competition.
Ben. How did you come up with this?
An intense lack of sleep is always quite useful for a dramatic vernacular.
I think on the dice rolling, I should apologise to 2 tables on Saturday. So I definitely didn't touch anyone's dice. For absolute purpose, but I did make the mistake of watching some games quite closely, and of course there was a rush into the end zone, which as soon as I watched the dice roll was guaranteed a 1 reroll 1. So I quickly stepped away from the table, and then the next table went 1 reroll 1, and at that point I went back to the TO station and decided not to stand too close to anyone rolling dice.
Amazing. But no, it's wicked, and I'm more excited than ever with Dorset Dungeon Bowl. But is there anything anyone wants to wrap up with on Beachhead before we take a very quick break and then come back with a couple of cool things to talk about?
I think with the other one thing we should touch on, Ben, is what was the other major tournament tip that BT learned about going away and staying away for the weekend at a tournament?
I can't even remember what
that
it was.
Oh my god, yeah, you got me in so much trouble in the morning. I turned up and Frodo was like, you in your hotels, and I'm like, I haven't done anything. Like, what are you talking about? It's like, oh, good job suggesting the hotel. And then Nick came over and was like, no, other Ben, because yeah. You like to tell us what happened, Ben?
It's the hotel that other people had stayed in before in the previous
and other
years,
people were booked into.
Fine, they were very cheap, they were very close, and I was just like, okay, there's loads of rooms. Like, that's one. People were like, where should we stay? And I said, this one's usually the cheapest one. I've heard things about it, like fine things about it. And we rock up on the day, notice on the door, they're in administration the week before, hadn't told anyone, taken all the payment, and it was just like, good luck.
That was quite a start to the day for a few coaches. I can only assume they use the same accountancy firm as Wayland Games.
Apparently.
Did you see this, Milt?
I've not heard this. What's going on?
You're not in the Wobble chat anymore. Basically, there's been an announcement that Wayland Games will be dissolved in 2 months' time. We don't think it's going to happen, but it looks like something's gone awry with their tax paying. And the government has just sort of said, or not the government, the Crown has sort of said, hello, all your base belong to us now. You've got 2 months. And it seems like quite a dramatic thing. The thing is, though, when it comes to Wayland Games, everybody was like, yeah.
I'm still waiting on the paint I ordered in 2012.
Yeah, here we go. Got a race.
Do they even still make the paint anymore?
Yeah. Oh man, I hope it's Agrax from back in those days. Yeah, no, that was quite an entertaining one. But any more for Beachhead, or should we move on to the last fun couple of minutes of the day?
Let's move on.
All right. Okay, so a couple of things to talk about that I think are really cool, and hopefully you will too. We did talk about the tournament series, the Bonehead Podcast tournament series, that is overall linking all of our events, but may not have talked about it loud enough. We put it in the Discord and we put it on the channel in a community post because this went live when I was not really doing very many videos. Hopefully those days will be shortly behind me, but basically at the behest of players and my absolute just obsession with spreadsheets, we've linked all of the events that we're running this year. So we've got 5 tournaments this year. We've run 2 of them already. We've got Dorset Dungeon Bowl coming up soon. Then we've got the team tournament, which you can come to if you are a solo coach. Just let us know and we'll put you into a mercenary team. And then we've got Bonehead Bowl at the end of the year. And there will be a big series champion. So I think this is up on the website. I will make sure before this comes out that this is up on the website, and there is a link in the show notes below. But Bonehead Podcast Tournament Series. Milton was like, might be worth just talking about this again, Ben, so people know what's going on, because a few people were like, what is this now? Hopefully you've not missed the boat. But ultimately, what we're doing is we are linking your results and for the year. And we're taking the top 3 results across the whole year and putting them together, and that will be your competitive score for the year. And basically, we'll give out awards and prizes for the best end result. There's a couple of cool things we're doing as well, but just to really succinctly explain that, if you go to 1 tournament, 2 tournament, 3 tournament, 4 tournament, 5 tournaments, if you've got 3 or more scores, your top 3 scores will be bundled together. If you've got 1 score, it will be your 1 score bundled together with no other scores. So the idea that you want to get to 3 events. So for example, at Beachhead, you score 90. At Dorset Dungeon Bowl, you score 57. At the Summer Team Cup, you score 49. And Bonehead Bowl, you score 88. We will take your top 3 results and you will end up with 235 points. Ignore the bonus points because that was for Beachhead and that's gone, and we baked that into the events. So awards and trophies for the end of the year. Second and third place will also be given for the below awards. The Bonehead Podcast Tournament Series overall champion, the coach with the top series points at the end of the year, the best 3 scores totaled up. There will be the same for a stunty champion. We'll talk about stunty teams in a second. There are also some extra awards. So this will be for all matches totaled, these 3 awards: most touchdowns, most casualties, and most fouls, the Dirty Player Award. That will be for all of your games bundled up. So if you're shooting for most touchdowns, the more events you go to, the better that will be for you. That's a grand total of the year one. We're also doing regional winners. And what we mean by this is the regions, the keywords that are in the book, the thing that came along and potentially ruined star players for everybody. We're turning it into a little bit of a positive thing. There will be a top Underworld Challenge champion from Skaven, Snotling and Underworld, a Lustrian Super League champion from Amazon Lizard and Slan, Sylvanian Spotlight champion with Necromantic Undead Vampires and Tomb Kings. Old World Classic champion will be Dwarf, Halfling, Human, Nobility, Old World Alliance and Norse. Badlands Brawls, Black Orcs, Goblins, Orcs and Ogres, favoured of Chaos Chosen, Chaos Dwarves, Chaos Renegades, Khorne and Nurgle, and Elven Kingdoms with the elf teams in. Basically, we will take your top scores for those teams and bundle them together. Couple of things, I think probably preemptive FAQs. If I play 5 events, 3 with them with Skaven and 2 with humans, you will get your points for Underworld Challenge for Skavens. You will get your points for human for the regionals bundled up in that. If you play 4 Skaven and 1 Snotling, you'll just get your 3 top Underworld Challenge scoring things to put together to be the points for that one. And I can't remember what the other questions were likely to be on that one. The idea.
Yeah, there's a few questions. So it was about Bonehead Bowls, obviously mixed teams. So what we're going to say is that your primary team choice will be your team choice. The points will count towards that. So if you pick an Orc Snotling mixed team, an Orc's your first team choice. That's your pick. And for Dorset Dungeon Bowl, I can't remember what we've ruled on that. Is you have to have at least one.
Yeah, you're exactly right. For both of these, so for mixed teams, you pick. So if you're going Orc Skaven, you pick whether you want your points to go to Orcs or Skaven. And if you are running a Dungeon Bowl team, which you have to this year because we're using tour play, so it'll be Dungeon Bowl teams only. If you're running an Orc from a Black Orc team, you can elect Black Orcs. If you're running a Tree Man, you can elect any team that a Tree Man is from, that kind of thing. So you need to be running a player from a team if you want to nominate that team to be your points.
So you're representative of that category.
So if you're doing, if you're Ben, you want to maximize your Khorne points, you can take College of Metal, and as long as you've got a Seeker, you can say my points here are for Khorne. You can run Fire, and as long as you've got a Marauder Lineman, you can say, actually, I want this team to represent Khorne. It's a minor thing, and we'll sort it out on the day if you have any questions. It's not the biggest thing in the world. If you get in a pickle and need to ask us, just jump in the Discord and ask the question, and we can straighten it out. The idea is that it's just a really cool thing to put all your points together, and it's the first year in what I'm hoping is going to continue to grow and be very, very, very cool. And we get points to play with. I'm nearly done with the web page, so you can see your results, you can see the standings, you can see the standings for each of the regions, and nearly done. This is the bit that's been quite fun. You can log on and see your games and your results as well. So you can be like, oh, okay, like I've got this many points. I can see I'm 20th. How did I do in this? Okay, I played in Bonehead Bowl. I came 7th overall. This was my record. These were my games. Just so you can kind of log on and see what you've done in the series. We are doing it in a way that keeps data just absolutely minimal. So it will be your NAF name and your first name, basically. If you've submitted your first name and your surname, I am editing it. So it will be your first name and the first initial of your surname and maybe a number on the end of it, just to make sure that we can keep you lined up. You will get a Bonehead Podcast series ID. Not very important. You don't need to know it. Don't worry about it. But it will be there for you to have, and we'll roll it. If for any reason you are like, I don't want my NAF name or the first initial of my surname attributed to this, don't hesitate. Send me a message. We'll just change you to be generic Skaven player 75. Doesn't matter. The results will still be in there. Your results will still count for other players, and just general thing. We're just trying to if you're interested, it's there. And if later on in the year you're like, oh, how did I do? You'll be able to log on. You have to sign up. You can just go to the page, click what you want to look at, and the results will be there. But I do intend for this to continue and grow. And when it gets to the end of the year, there will be some cool prizes and some cool incentives because I think it's really important. And when it comes to Stunty, same thing. If your team is Stunty eligible, basically it gets marked down in our tournaments as being Stunty eligible for the Stunty Award on that day. If your team is Stunty eligible at Dorset Dungeon Bowl, first of all, enjoy College of Life. Then your Stunty points will automatically attribute to that, even if you choose a non-Stunty team. It's fine. It's logical. But as ever, any problems, any concerns, just ping us and we'll have a chat about it. That is the first thing. I'm very excited about this. I've been data crunching. My sort of late night feeds have been learning some stuff, learning some HTML, which I haven't done since I was at college, which is challenging. I'm like, obviously everything's in Google Sheets, and I'm like, well, I see Google Sheets the way that Neo sees the Matrix, but other people are like, what is this square? What is this number? So I'm trying to make it as useful for normal humans as possible. So working on that. And that is my little news bit on the tournament series. The second bit is Dorset Dungeon Bowl is coming up. We've got 8 weeks out. It's going to be awesome. Like, it is going to be very, very, very cool. All of our Dungeon Bowl events have been brilliant so far, I think. And we're using the 3-ball format this year, which is just a significant gameplay improvement. It's just better. You will get to play a whole game. Doesn't matter if and it just adds so much tactical flex. So the difference of this is you've got 6 chests, 3 balls instead of 1. And the game continues until 3 touchdowns are scored or the round is ended. So you can end up with a 0-0 draw, a 1-1 draw, a 2-1 loss, a 3-0 absolute drumming. It gives you the variability. So if you're playing a fast twitch team, which is what we've seen the last 2 years, right? We've seen Heavens be like, okay, I'm just going to YOLO this skink from end zone to end zone, and well, we're done in 8 minutes. Does anyone want to go get food? Nah, you YOLO that skink it. He goes into the end zone, he scores the touchdown, he goes back into your reserves, and then your player gets to open up and destroy you with the rest of their team. It's a much better way of playing, and the final of our Dungeon Bowl Championship used the format, and it's just so much better, so much more tactical. It's just exquisite in my eyes. Which leads me on to the last thing I want to talk about, which is probably the thing I'm the most excited about, is because this podcast is, I was going to say bi-weekly, but that doesn't help, does it? Because that technically means 2 things. Ironic that bi-weekly has bi-meaning. It's fortnightly. So every other week, you get to listen to us talk about Blood Bowl on the Saturday. You may think that's good. I hope you think that's good. But it's going to get even gooder, because on that Saturday when the podcast comes out, you're going to go, oh, cool. That means that in a couple of days' time, on the Monday, there will be a live Blood Bowl match being streamed from the studio because we've basically, what we're going to be doing is recording one week the podcast, and then the other week when we don't have the podcast, we're going to live stream a game, and it is going to be wicked. And one of the things we're going to do, so we've got 4 live streams before Dorset Dungeon Bowl. I would like to stream at least one Dungeon Bowl game.
Oh, hell yeah. Yeah. Rules refresher for us as well, because
Yep.
we're going to need it.
I think that'll be really, really, really important. So what I want to talk to you guys now is next 4 weeks of games. I want to get at least one Dungeon Bowl in there. I think probably not the first week, maybe the third week. So that's like 4 weeks in front of Dorset Dungeon Bowl, which I think is quite a good point, which means we've got this one coming up. Trips is busy. Milton's on the island at the moment. So it'll be BT and myself. So it will be the first one. So we'll be working out a few kinks and stuff, but I'm really happy with the mics. I promise the lighting will be better for filming games. So it will be great fun. So we wanted you to come and hang out. We've not made a big song and dance about this one because this one's kind of like we're telling you now on the podcast. We'll announce it on Sunday, what we're going to be playing, and then we'll play it on Monday. But at least then from that point, you'll be like, oh, okay. Every other Monday, at least every other Monday, we will have live Blood Bowl. But my question to you guys is, what game should we do on that first game? Should we do 11's match play, Ben?
Yeah, I reckon that's standard, right? Just a showcase 11's match play game. I can run my corn if you want.
We should probably see a Corn v Skaven.
Oh, no.
Yeah, we should do that.
You see, I want to get a different roster to the table. One of the match play ones we've been talking about.
Okay.
I've nearly finished.
Why don't we play the Corn roster and maybe the winning roster from Beachhead?
Ugh, Dark Elves.
I'm nearly going to play Dark Elves.
I think what we'll do is we'll look at what teams you've got available and then play that game. Because that first one is going to be about having a good time playing a game.
Exactly.
So what we want to do going forward, I'm not sure if I've told this to you guys, I'm sure you'll be on board, is we want to kind of give you some options, at least a week in advance. And we're going to get YouTube to pick one team and Patreon and members to pick the other. So we'll be like, right, match play, we're going match play 1100 or match play 1150 ready for our team event. Pick between one of these 4 teams on YouTube and pick between one of these 4 teams on Patreon. And we get to kind of prep the teams, get them run, so we can actually get to see some of these ones. And Trips is an excellent suggestion of getting some of these tournament winners to the table. And Milton, one of the things I was going to suggest was at the end of your Fumble League, we build or prep the top 2 teams from the final, and we play it out on a match live stream. Obviously, they're not going to be our teams, probably, almost definitely, won't be mine. But it would be really cool to be like play a homage to your Fumble League and pick 2 teams out of the Fumble League and run them on tabletop for the live stream match for that week. I think that'd be pretty cool to do in the future.
Great incentive for me to finally build my snotlings, then, eh?
There you go. There you go.
We can live in hope.
Yeah, I've got a snotting team. It's fine. But no, so we're finally getting there with being able to stream games. So we're going to start the streaming from next week, every other week to begin with. We will see what happens as it goes on. And then once we kind of get that routine set in, that's when we'll start looking to move forward with the next Bonehead Championship. But the live stream games have been so much fun. And we've got the setup for it. That's what we've built it for. And yeah, we want to make this Monday Night Blood Bowl a thing, because I think it's just going to be so much fun. And I guess last thing to mention, I know this is coming out on a Friday to the Patreons and Saturday to everybody else. Milton, when's your dates and cut-offs and stuff for your Fumble League in the Discord?
I'm making it up as I go along. This weekend, so probably Sunday at the latest. We've got a little Fumble League going. Should be good fun.
It's nice and casual.
Nice casual experience. We're testing the waters with Fumble, see how it goes. But yeah, if anyone's interested in coming along, signing up for that, drop us a message in the Fumble channel on Discord and get your team sent over, and then I'll invite them in. And yeah, we're looking at 8 rounds, top 4 playoffs, so should be good.
About 1 game a week, isn't it, Milton?
Yeah, 1 game a week, just because we've got people in different time zones. So yeah, I was trying to include some of our international members, which would be good fun. Get some games in with them, which I think we probably won't otherwise have the opportunity to, especially not with Blood Bowl 3 in its current state. But not just yet. Yeah, obviously, given time, hopefully we can move over to that. But yeah, excited to run that, and then hopefully that all goes well and we can play Secret League afterwards, because I'm really desperate to play my Sharks again.
I'm running Amazons.
No, I'm not. I'm far from desperate to see those Sharks.
It's a good way of getting that Secret League stuff out there. Not likely to be streaming it on the channel. It's kind of like a casual let's play. It might maybe if it lines up, like we might stream our game, but I'm happy to join in because it's something I can do on the couch with Libby screaming at me or whatever. It's kind of like I can still play Fumble. This is cool, and I'm excited. I'm going to be running Amazons. Going to be running one of the teams I intend to put into the Bonehead Championship, the Tepec Tempests. I said that wrong. Tempests. Interesting. That's going to be a fun one. Yeah. So Amazons, that'll be good. Milton's already said he's running Snotlings. I don't know.
No, I didn't say I was running Snotlings. It was up to public opinion.
No, I'm pretty sure that's literally just what you said.
Yeah, it will be the Snotlings.
I've gone for a team that I don't have to roll a d6, so I've gone for my frenzy corn friends, so I can fail block dice as opposed to the d6 rolls.
Ah, fantastic!
I too have brought a corn team, so it'll be a corn
that's 3 corn teams now.
Love it, more the merrier.
Oh, Snotlings, that's not bad.
No, don't you dare drop them in.
I brought the Ben counter as always.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, that is so true. That's classic Milton and Fumble. What's Ben playing? Okay, let's make him miserable.
And there's some cool teams out there. I've got to put a shout out to Frodo and the Cannon Fodder team. We had a good chat in Discord about Cannon Fodder, which is just one of the best retro games. Just amazing. The sound effects all came back to me. He's named his guys he's named his team after the characters from the game, and it's just I'm looking forward to that. There should be a really good laugh. Fumble's not too bad. Bit of a learning curve, bit of a technology curve. Yeah, right. You may not have a device that is able to run Java.
Yeah, it should be okay. I mean, you can run it on Mac OS and Windows, so as long as you've got one of those two, you're right. Any kind of technical issues, just fling us a message. We'll work our way through it.
Yeah, that's. I love the way you're approaching this, though, Milk, which is a casual, like Discord, hanging out, playing some games. I think is 100% the best thing, and I am personally well excited for it. But with that, guys, I think I kind of rammed everything exciting going on into a quick 15-minute segment. Is there anything I've missed before we wrap up? And hopefully, next podcast, we can be back to a little bit more of a routine, maybe even feature some Blood Bowl news and a hobby highlight or two. It'd be nice to get a little bit back into the throw of things. But otherwise, thank you all so much for hanging out. Thank you for running the tournament. Thank you for running the league. Thank you for just being awesome, because it's so nice to see all of you at the event as well. It's quite funny because we see and talk a lot, but actually we don't see each other physically very often, which I hadn't even considered until I went round to Trips for a coffee earlier and picked up the pitch that he's printed. I don't know if I'm going to have that done by next week for the stream, but that's okay. We could always do some 7s instead, Ben.
Oh, we'll see.
We'll see. We'll chat. We'll chat about it.
Yeah.
But anyway, any more?
All good.
All good.
Magic. Well, thank you very much. We'll be back soon with more Blood Bowl content. Happy blocking. Thanks very much for watching. We really appreciate your support. If you want to support the channel even further, please like and subscribe. It really does help us out. Or come join us on YouTube Members or in Patreon, where you can get exclusive access to some content, some loot, early access to basically everything we do, as well as regular competitions. Or you can pick up some Bonehead Podcast loot either on our website at boneheadpodcast.com. We've got the Dungeon Bowl things, we've got tokens and stuff like that, or on our Spreadshirt site as well. Everything you do just helps us make more content and hopefully do it of better quality. Anyway, thank you very much for watching. Happy blocking.